Can you eliminate your tax debt by filing a Chapter 7 bankruptcy? Hi, I'm attorney Leroy Roberson, back to talk about this topic. And a lot of people that come to me and they have interest in filing for bankruptcy, they have all these tax issues. And while generally taxes are not discharged in bankruptcy, there are certain exceptions. And sometimes I'll go through these exceptions. And sometimes clients that had no idea that they could have their tax debt discharged in bankruptcy actually get it discharged in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. So if you have these issues going on, make sure to pay attention to this video because I'm about to outline the exceptions to when you can have tax debt discharged in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Now, the first requirement is it has to be income taxes. It can't be payroll taxes or fraud penalties or other things that you have taxes on. It has to be actual income taxes. And the second thing is it can't be due to fraud or willful evasion. So let's say you use a fake social security number when you file your taxes. If you've done that, that's considered fraud and those will not be discharged through your Chapter 7 bankruptcy. The third thing is the debt has to be at least 3 years old to qualify. So let's say you have a tax debt that was due in April of 2017. You would have to wait until after April of 2020 for that debt to qualify for discharge under this Chapter 7 bankruptcy. The fourth thing is that you had to have actually filed your tax return. Sometimes the IRS does what's called a substituted return, and they'll substitute and file taxes on your behalf. If that happens and you incur a debt, that debt is not going to be dischargeable under these exceptions. You had to have actually filed the return yourself. So make sure if you're dealing with a substituted return, maybe you want to try to go ahead and file your own return and withdraw that substitution, but it has to be your own filed tax return. And then the last thing is you have to pass what's called the 240-day rule, which means that your taxes had to have been assessed over 240 days before you file for bankruptcy or not assessed at all. So basically, if your taxes were assessed within the 240 days before you're about to file for bankruptcy, that's when it's not going to qualify. So make sure you know that and just wait the 240 days out. Now, let's say you get that bankruptcy discharge. The discharge is not going to be really effective if there was a tax lien put on your property. So if you had tax debt and the IRS put a lien, let's say on a house that you own, even though the debt would be discharged, the lien on that house or whatever other property that was put on will not actually be discharged, which is important because if you ever went to sell that home, even though that debt's discharged, you would still have to pay the lien on the home before you can sell it. So that's pretty important to know, guys. But that's it. I hope this really helps you out. And in case you were deciding between Chapter 7 and Chapter 13, I'm going to make another video that should be following this one up. That's on Chapter 13 because there are some slight differences on how they're treated, taxes are treated in Chapter 13 versus Chapter 7. So look out for that video if you have questions regarding the Chapter 13 and how they deal with tax debt. But that's it, guys. I hope this is helpful. If you have any other questions, as always, feel free to let me know and we can talk about it. If not, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks, guys.